Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? When you hear the word quality, what pops into your head? Probably a pretty mundane factory task, right? Like someone in a white lab coat with a clipboard just checking off boxes on a factory floor. But what if I told you that the pursuit of making things better actually evolved from that simple chore into a massive, world-changing global strategy? It's true. Today, we're going to explore the incredibly fascinating journey of quality.
But before we get into the weeds, we really got to ask, what exactly is quality? I mean, does it just mean a high-end luxury car? Or maybe a super durable pair of shoes that lasts a decade? Well, as we're going to see from our sources today, quality is so much more than just a nice, shiny product. It's actually a deep, continuous science. It's a fundamental philosophy that has completely revolutionized the modern world, literally changing how organizations operate from the ground up.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start off with the early quest for quality, then move through absolute pioneers like Shewhart and Deming, unpack concepts like total quality management and Six Sigma, and finally, we'll look at Prahalad and global strategy. Don't worry if these sound like corporate buzzwords, we're going to break it all down.
Section 1. The quest for quality and finding the bad apples.
Okay, imagine stepping way back into the early days of the Industrial Revolution. Factories were booming, but they faced this classic, glaring problem. How do you catch the bad apples before they end up in the customer's hands? The history of quality is really just an evolution of successive upgrades to solve that exact issue. Back in the 1750s, it relied on simple inspection, basically looking at a finished product and deciding keep it or toss it. But over the decades, as you can see, this evolved into quality control, quality assurance, TQM, and eventually Six Sigma. It's an amazing journey from just glancing at a finished item to completely engineering the entire system that makes it.
Section 2. Shewhart and Quality Control.
By the 1920s, manufacturers finally realized that simply throwing out those bad apples after they were already made was, well, incredibly wasteful. Enter Walter Shewhart, a brilliant physicist over at Bell Laboratories. He introduced a statistical measurement of variation in 1922. Known today as the father of statistical quality control, Shewhart decided to actually use data and mathematical charts to measure quality while the production was happening, rather than just guessing at the end. A real game changer.
So what is quality control, or QC, exactly? Basically, it's a system of routine technical measurements. It's totally product-focused, meaning it evaluates the actual goods being produced to spot mistakes and correct them on the fly. Shewhart's absolute genius was introducing statistical control charts. These helped the folks on the floor see exactly when a process was going out of its normal variation, allowing them to jump in and fix it before too many bad products were churned out. In short, QC is all about detection.
Section 3. Deming and Quality Assurance.
Now, as industries kept growing, just catching errors during production wasn't going to cut it anymore. We needed to prevent them entirely. Think about a relatable everyday example, like baking. Quality control, or detection, is basically tasting a batch of burnt cookies and throwing them in the trash so your guests don't eat them. Right? It works, but it's wasteful. Quality assurance, on the other hand, that's prevention. That is fixing your oven's broken thermostat before you even start mixing the dough.
And our sources highlight this perfectly. The main goal of quality assurance is avoiding defects in the first place. In industry circles, this is often called a shift left. If you imagine a timeline of making a product reading from left to right, QA shifts the focus to the left, much earlier into the design phase, the planning, and creating standardized procedures, so those errors never even get the chance to occur.
A guy named W. Edwards Deming really championed this proactive mindset. He completely transformed management, not only with his famous 14 points for organizational leadership, but by popularizing the PDSA cycle: plan, do, study, act. It's this incredibly dynamic, scientific process for acquiring knowledge and continuous learning. You plan a change, you do it on a small scale to test it out, you study those results, and then you act to standardize or adjust it. This simple 4-step cycle literally revolutionized management thinking worldwide.
Section 4. Total Quality Management.
Moving right along into the 1980s, the concept of quality finally broke out of the factory floor and completely took over the corporate boardroom. Total quality management, or TQM, was a massive cultural shift. We're talking about an organization-wide philosophy. It meant quality wasn't just the job of the inspectors anymore. It became everyone's job, all the way from the CEO down to the newest hire.
TQM focuses heavily on customer satisfaction, empowering employees to actually speak up about problems, and a core concept known as Kaizen, which is the relentless, daily pursuit of continuous improvement across every single department.
Section 5. Six Sigma, Chasing Perfection. While TQM was an amazing philosophy, in the 80s and 90s, corporate heavy hitters like Motorola and General Electric decided they wanted near-perfect mathematical precision, so they created Six Sigma. If you look at a standard bell curve representing a process, a really wide curve means there's a lot of variation, which inevitably produces defects. But a tall, super narrow curve, that represents Six Sigma. By using intense data analysis, companies shrink their variation down so tightly that almost every single product works perfectly, landing right dead center on the target.
To actually pull this off, Six Sigma specialists use a highly structured, intensely data-driven strategy known as the DMAIC model. First, you define the problem. Then, you measure the current process. You analyze that data to find the hidden root causes. You improve the process by fixing those causes. And finally, you control the new process to make absolutely sure those errors never ever come back.
And what is the ultimate goal of all that intense statistical rigor? It comes down to this absolutely mind-blowing number, 3.4. The whole mathematical endgame of Six Sigma is to reduce variation so drastically that you're left with just 3.4 defects per million opportunities. I mean, that is literally as close to absolute perfection as a business can get.
Section 6. Prahalad and Global Strategy. Okay, so we've gone from throwing away bad factory parts to achieving literal mathematical perfection. But our final pioneer, C.K. Prahalad, took a step back and asked how quality could create true, meaningful global impact. Prahalad wrote a groundbreaking book called The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. As Bill Gates even noted, this book offered a wildly intriguing blueprint for how to fight poverty with profitability. Prahalad completely shifted how the business world views global markets and the world's poorest populations.
You see, Prahalad proved that if businesses could turn world-class quality into a strategic core competency, they could drastically lower their costs without just producing cheap junk. High quality plus low cost meant that companies could affordably and profitably serve the billions of people at the very bottom of the financial pyramid, bringing them vital goods and services they desperately needed.
And hey, this isn't just academic theory. Look at real-world examples like Aravind Eye Hospital. They took these exact quality models, literally standardizing their medical processes so rigorously that they treat cataract surgery almost like a high-precision assembly line. This incredible efficiency allows them to provide life-changing medical services at a fraction of the traditional cost, directly reaching the people who need it most. And honestly, that brilliantly illustrates the overarching theme of our explainer today. As the sources remind us again and again, quality is a journey, not a destination. From Walter Shewhart's very first statistical charts back in the 1920s to C.K. Prahalad's world-changing global strategies, the pursuit of quality is an endless, ongoing cycle of continuous improvement. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've talked a lot today about factories, Bell Labs, and huge global economics. But whether it's utilizing Plan, Do, Study, Act, or chasing your own personal Six Sigma perfection, how can you apply this philosophy of continuous improvement to your own life or work today? Think about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep striving for quality in absolutely whatever you do. Catch you next time.